Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. Today I'm going to present you some wildcard drafts for the upcoming Gameweek 34. This video has been requested by several viewers, so I wanted to make it happen. Of course, we are going to look at two different wildcard drafts after we take a look at the fixture analysis. We are going to analyze the fixtures and see where we can invest and what should we be doing. Of course, wildcard draft number one will be if you still have your free hit, because most of the people are used it in 29 or B using it in 34. But if you are neither of those people, just like me, preparing a team for the upcoming weeks apart from 36 is going to be very important. You have to take into account the blankers in 37, which is also very hard thing to predict, especially without seeing how the fixtures will play out. Wildcard draft 2 will be for those that do not have any chips apart from that wildcard and they need to prepare good for 36, where most probably there is going to be a double, and 37 there's going to be blanks. So I'm going to analyze the fixtures. We're going to see where the vital points of the teams are going to be and how to manage it and how to do it. And then of course we're going to present the drafts. If you enjoyed and want to see more, don't forget to click that subscribe button. I'm so close to 3.4k. Let's make it happen before the start of Gameweek 34. And let's see where we can reach after that. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the fixture analysis. Looking at the fixtures, we have to take care of 5 game weeks left of the season, so that wild card is going to be very short-lived, but we have to prepare. Of course, starting with Game Week 34, there are several teams that are blanking: Arsenal, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace and Manchester City. Those 4 teams are going to be as avoided as possible, because we need to prepare for the rest. Of course, you can pick a goalkeeper from those teams, and of course you can pick 3 players that are not going to feature in 34, because you have it covered with the rest of your squad. Of course, then in 37 there is going to be a final of the FA Cup, so the teams of Aston Villa, Palace, Forest and City are prime targets to reach it. Then teams like Spurs, Spurs, Wolves, West Ham and Bournemouth are going to be also in danger of not having a fixture in 37. That would mean that we have to take care of things in advance and maybe start preparing with teams from 34 now and save all the transfers up until 37 and then get rid of the players. So for example, if you believe that Crystal Palace is beating Aston Villa in the semifinals, you maybe should pick some players from Wolves, because you can play them in 34, 35, 36 with the double, and then in 37 you're going to sell them. The same can be said about West Ham. If you believe that Forest are going to defeat Manchester City, you can pick players that are facing Brighton, Spurs, United with a double with Forest, and then they have Ipswich at the end, so it gets even trickier to fit teams. So probably I'll be expecting Forest to lose and City to go through, because Forest also have a good fixture on Brentford, Leicester, West Ham, and you can rely on a lot of those players. Of course, if Aston Villa reaches the final, it's going to be Spurs, and Spurs will have a blank, and this will have to be rearranged. So the next fixture in UCL will be after 34 and after 35. So after 36 completely free for Spurs to play it. They can play it even after 37, so maybe not a blank week, just like it's with Forest and Brentford at the moment, because both teams are playing in 34, even though Forest are in the semifinal. So that can happen also in 37, and we may not even have any doubles up left, and we may not even care about that and just pick players with great fixtures. But there is a saying that if Forest reaches the final, the game is on Monday, so that would mean in 36, in 37, I'll check in a second when we're preparing, but there is a game on Monday, and there was a message that was saying we're gonna play after game week 36 the game with Forest that was going to be played in 37. So that's a statement in West Ham's website. It was circled around. It was circled around before when we were having the discussion for game week 30 wildcard. Of course, for example, teams like Arsenal that are heavily popular now are going to be prime targets to go out. Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle, it's not ideal. Aston Villa, even though they may have a double up. Fulham, Bournemouth and Spurs. United, not ideal again. Bournemouth, United, okay, it's not a bad fixture, but Arsenal, Villa, City, I think it cannot get worse than that. Maybe you can add Liverpool into that mix. Brentford's an interesting team to target, especially if you do not have a free hit. You may want to have and you are saving your bench boost, for example. So many players may save their bench boost for now. And in 36, having players from Brentford might be vital as they have Ipswich and probably Fulham. No, so only Ipswich, but Ipswich away, it's a good fixture for them. And then in 38, you can use them once again. Brighton, it's not a bad fixture run, but in the most important week in 37, when there will be a lot of blankers, let's say that, let's humor ourselves and Aston Villa and City reaches the final. So that means Aston Villa, Bournemouth, City, and Spurs are without a game. That leaves Arsenal versus Newcastle. No, thank you. Brentford versus Fulham. Okay. Chelsea versus United. It's always a tough game. Crystal Palace versus Wolves might be interesting. You may own a lot of Palace players as of now, but that's on a wildcard. Everton against Southampton is a game where I'll be looking to get players from, because they will be having a week where this will be the last fixture at the Goodison Park, and I think they will want to put on a show for their team. So I think they're going to be playing up to full speed. Fulham against Brentford, Ipswich against Leicester. No, thank you. Leicester against Ipswich is going to be probably high-scoring game, so both teams can leave the Prem as quiet as with a bang as possible. Liverpool against Brighton, I don't know how much rotation they will do there, but it's a game where we may target. City, if they reach the final, it's a blank. United, Newcastle, no go. Forest against West Ham, yes, especially because before that they have home fixture against Leicester. This might be a juicy period of run for them. So Forest for sure is a team that I'll be looking to get players from. Southampton, no. Spurs blanking. Wolves against Crystal Palace, why not? And West Ham against Forest, it's not ideal, but it's Ipswich away after that, so you can prepare. So it's what I'm trying to say, that without the knowledge of if, first of all, who is reaching the final, and secondly, if we're going to have a blank week, it's very hard to prepare. But now let's jump and see. I will be building the teams live, and I will be presenting to you how I build them and what I look for and how I plan my team around. And we're going to be referencing always the fixture difficulty rating. We'll be switching around screens, so stay tuned with me. Now let's go and see. A lot of things have to be taken care of, but we have some solid teams that we can get players in, and no matter the situation, it will help us a lot moving forward. So here we start building the first wildcard draft that I promised, and this wildcard draft is with if you have the free hit available. That's very important, because if you have the free hit available and there is a confirmed double week in 36, you will be using the free hit. Of course, if there isn't a confirmed double in 36, it gets a little bit trickier when to use the free hit. I'm in that situation, but we want to take care of the most important players. We will have some players having a good fixture regardless if there is a blank or not, so don't you worry about that. I will be moving around the fixtures and deciding what to pick, where to pick it, if to pick it at all, and we are going to have a lot of things to discuss. So moving into the fixture difficulty rating here, we start of course with the most important thing, and that is seeing if we go in 37 so if you use in 36 the free hit, then that would mean the team will have to survive, most importantly, 35 and 37. So games like 36 are irrelevant at the moment. Of course, most of the teams will have some great opportunities to be moved around and to get the best players from their teams respectively, like City, like Aston Villa, like Palace, like Forest if they reach the final, and their respective opponents. But now it's most important to prepare with a good fixture run around 34, 35, 37 and 38, and that's the vital point here. So looking at the fixtures, Arsenal, no go. Here in 36, if we use the free hit, we may leave out some players that are currently in, which is quite important also, but let's go ahead and let's not deviate ourselves anymore. Aston Villa, no go for now. Bournemouth have United, Arsenal, City and Leicester. Okay, they have Leicester, but that's in 38. We don't know what's going to happen, so for now we're not going there. Brentford are an interesting team. They have Forest away. I have not seen Forest play in 33 yet. At the time of recording and at the time of uploading, they haven't played yet. So it's very, very difficult to go there at the moment and to say who's going to be fit from Forest or not. But from Brentford perspective, we've seen them tear up Brighton in the weekend. So we know it's not going to be that bad. United, come on. United are with one of the worst performances, and that would be between the semi-final for them. So that fixture against Brentford, they will be rotating the side, in my opinion. Okay, we skip Ipswich, but if you don't activate the bench boost, the free hit, sorry, in 36, and you don't use it, just you have them for Ipswich, so that's pretty important. Then you go to Fulham at home, still not that difficult of a fixture, and then you go to Wolves. So I would say it's pretty vital to have some some Brentford players. And if we look at Brentford in general, we have Flecken, who is a good keeper with 4.4 to be spent, so that's a thing to have in mind. Collins has been playing every goddamn minute under the sun. He hasn't missed a minute this season, and I think that will continue onward. So he's a good defender to have. We'll have that in mind. The rest, I don't think it's that exciting. Van der Berg is very cheap and is back on the starting sheet list, so that can be something that we take care of and we care about because he's very, very cheap and you can always bench him in tough situations. Of course, the most important player is Mbumo, who is currently on 210 points. His best season so far was 150. Now he's on 210 without him having yet played the final run. Sorry, not the easiest, but the final run. Brighton home, before that Newcastle, before that Bournemouth, before that Leicester. I think that Bryan Mbeumo is a shoe into any wildcard, and I wouldn't say, I would say you should not look anywhere away from him. Then we move to the other midfielders, not that consistent. Another player that will be on my list and on my team for sure if I wildcard now is Yohan Wissa. This guy is amazing, and when I say amazing, I mean amazing. Come on, Wissa, brilliant performance. They have a home fixture against United and against Fulham exactly when you need him in 35 and 37. You can always rely on him if you're bench boosting in 36. If you don't have a free hit, still I think that Mbeumo and Wissa will be a shoe-in in any wildcard draft that I prepare. I will be having in mind Van der Beek for now, but I will be not selecting him because I want to see the other defensive options that we go for. Of course, when we build this team, I'm going to go and showcase to you how I'm going to line it up without even using transfers. So that's the free hit. You can always adjust if something happens. Let's say you have 0 transfers, you get 1 for 35, you get 2 for 36 if you're free hitting, so you're not getting 1, 2 for 37, so you have 2 free transfers. So free transferring around is not an option. So I would say Mbeumo and Wissa, even though they are facing Forest away and that's one of the toughest fixtures around, I still believe that those two players will be very, very important to any run or whatever you do and decide to do with your team. Then moving into Brighton, of course, Brighton are a possibility, but if you're looking for when you're going to play those players in 35 and 37, it's Newcastle and Liverpool. Are you playing Brighton assets? I don't think so. Then we move to Chelsea, Liverpool and United. Are you playing their players? No, thank you. Crystal Palace are a team that face Forest and Wolves, but they will be having a semi-final here. Then we don't know if they reach the final or not, and they may have a double. So yeah, Wolves may be a blank week. Then we move to an interesting side called Everton, and Everton is where I want to point your view into that direction. They have Chelsea, they have Ipswich, they have Fulham, and then they have Southampton. Ipswich and Southampton, 2 home fixtures. The final day here, I'll be looking to get some Everton players into the side. They have been playing pretty well. And when we go and see Everton and what they have, of course they have Pickford. Pickford is always an option. If we go down in defense, Tarkowski is with a hamstring injury, so we don't know what's the situation with him. Mikulenko is playing every minute under the sun, so Mikulenko is an option, and he's very cheap. O'Brien is 4.5, now he's playing as a right back. He's an option. He scored 2 goals already, and they were around each other, so he's very big threat on set pieces now with Tarkovsky gone. So O'Brien might be a guy that I take a look into. I may even double up in their defenses, because why the hell not? I'll be using them in 35 and 37, where most of my team in 37 will be blanking. So yep, that's a very, very interesting thing to take. So I will get O'Brien for now, to have the fit here. In their midfield direction, Doucouré, yeah, he's playing 90 minutes, but will that continue? I don't know. Harrison, not that excited about him. McNeil is an interesting option. He started the season very, very good. He had 3 goals and 6 assists, something that, yeah, up until here wasn't something that we expected. And he delivered against Ipswich. Against Leicester he blanked, to be fair, but yeah, against Southampton he blanked, so that's interesting. He blanked against both teams, but I think that's the most nailed Everton player. I don't know if you're going to enjoy Everton players, but let's have him in mind. McNeil is there, and that is an interesting option, 5.2 for a forward, a penalty taker nonetheless. I don't know though if he will continue playing with McNeil in, so I'll be restricting myself currently to only one Everton player, and of course we have them in mind. I can bring in Mikulenko and we can be done with it. Then moving into Fulham, they have Southampton and Everton, but Everton is in 36. Then is Aston Villa and Brentford, and both are away, so I would be a little bit hesitant to go there. Ipswich, Everton away, and Leicester away, so they have Leicester also. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not going to pick any players from Ipswich. Let's be real. Delap is the only player that I would care about, but still, it's very tricky to get Delap at the moment. Leicester, I want to get someone from Leicester. Wolves, Southampton, Ipswich. Come on. If they don't get some goals here, when they are going to get them, but they've scored only against Brighton, and their team is pretty awful. If we go to Leicester squad and we take a look at defenders are a no-go, Mavididi, he went out of the field with a small injury yesterday. Buonanotte, tragic. Elkanus, yeah, but is he a real threat? When they're scoring, he is delivering. So maybe Elkanus is someone cheap that you can get and probably rely on in those weeks, but do you really like him? I don't know. Vardy has not been playing well against Tottenham. Of course, he scored, but against Brighton, he was non-existent. Patson Daka, no go for me. The only player is Elkanus, but the list is very, very short here, and you have to rely on him against Wolves, which is not the worst of things, but still, it gets very, very tricky there. Then we move to Liverpool. I know they have a no-full fixture run, but one player in the name of Mohamed Salah is immediately restored. So that would be a very, very solid start of the wildcard draft. Of course, we're very, very far away from delivering anything, but yeah. Then we have a City team where I'll be looking interested to invest. Wolves and Bournemouth, but they will blank. So Wolves and Fulham in a nutshell. For now, it's going to be Marmoush that is restored with Haaland out. I don't know until when. He's the guy that's here. So Marmoush is in. And one player more is Guardiola. I know that Nico O'Reilly has been doing pretty all right. But if I want to show you, he's a midfielder. So I cannot get him into the lineup. Of course, I may get him now. He has scored in the last 2 fixtures, which is quite funny, but I don't know if he can be trusted to play 2 weeks in a row. So Marmoush and Guardiola are in. And now we get to the United side. I was going to get Bruno Fernandes, but Bruno got rested. And I think that he's going to get rested more and more. I know they lost, but they don't care. They're not going to go down. The only thing they care about is going through into the Europa League final. Will that happen? No one knows. But here, he will be given as much rest as needed. So, no thank you. And no one else excites me from there. From Newcastle, I have to pick players because they face Ipswich now, and that's a very important part of the team. Brighton then away. I think I'm picking several Newcastle players. Then in 36, if you're free hitting, you just take them out. Then you have Arsenal away. Newcastle and Arsenal always seem to find a way to score against each other. And finally, it's Everton at home. So yeah, I'll be picking some Newcastle players, and those players are going to be Livramento and Murphy. I'm saving the spot now from Isaac for now, because I think there is a possibility to get another player in and to be done with it and happy with it. So we're going to talk about it. Forest, we can go for, of course, a Forest player, but the easiest game is 36, and if we're free hitting there, am I taking a Forest player? Nope, I'm not. I'm taking someone, no, but not in offensive line. In defense, I will be getting one player in particular, and that's Sales. I know it's counterintuitive to put him in, but I will have a goalkeeper that's playing a fixture in 35 and 37, and a good fixture, and that keeper will not surprise anyone saying that is going to Pickford. Of course, I can go with Flecken, but I don't think Flecken is enough. This way you're covering if your team in 36 is not needing a bench boost, free hit. You have already Sales, but now you have Pickford also. I know a lot of money is spent here, but you have money now. It's not something you need, so yeah, we're going there. If they have a double in 36, that's a different story. Even if they don't, Leicester at home, you can rely on Sales even if they don't have a double. Of course, you'll be relying on a double keeper, which is saying a lot, but this is a free hit draft, so don't take it into account. Southampton, complete avoid. Spurs, West Ham, Brighton, I don't know who to rely from there, honestly. Have zero idea. West Ham, though, is a team that I would be relying on, and they have Spurs. When Spurs are between the fixtures, they may have a double, may not, and then they have Ipswich. So yeah, this is a player that will blank in 37. Of course, we're getting into a lot of blankers, but you can get rid of 2 of them in 37 with 3, honestly. So yeah, that's a thing. Immediately putting in someone like Bowen. Pop it into the team. Then we move to probably another player from West Ham, but for now we rest. Then we go to Wolves, Leicester at home, a very good game. City away, it's hard. Of course, it's not something that I would be looking to get into. Then they can have a game against Crystal Palace, but it's still Leicester at home, and it's still a very good fixture. And I think Aston Villa are heavy favorites against Crystal Palace, so I would say they will have a fixture here, and they can score goals. And then it's Brentford at home, so for sure one of the players called Cunha is immediately in. Now, this would leave me with this front line, no Wood, which is a little bit tempting to go with Wood, but for now I'm staying there without Wood. And we have only 2 blankers so far, so we can invest into a third one, or we cannot invest into any of them at all. I want to get a special shout out to someone like 8 Nuri, or the even better pick, Sessegnon. 4.1, I think this is the cheap defender that will get us ahead. He had an assist, and he finished with 11 points, 2 bonus, clean sheet, and an assist. Brilliant. 11 points for right wing position. Go, assist. I'm just picking him. Yeah. And now we have a spot for 2 players that have maybe a blank this week, maybe not. So we will be relying on Sessegnon, Livramento, Mbumo, Salah, Murphy, Bowen, Cunha, Wissa. Let's get some players in that have a good fixture now. Fulham we already covered. Chelsea, yeah, not interested too much. Leicester are having Wolves. I don't know if Wolves will keep a clean sheet. Elkanus is still a very good pick. The issue is that against Southampton you're not playing him because you have your full lineup. So I'll be restricting myself there. Who else we can pick? We can rely on O'Brien. This week I'll be picking Sales or Pickford, even maybe Pickford because it's Chelsea away. This is getting long and long, but I'm building it live with you guys so you can see it. We can go to someone like Kivior, maybe, just for the sake of it, to have Southampton covered. I know it's a long stretch, but still. Brentford defender is an option 4.1, but it's facing Forest this week. Someone with good fixture this week, it's 8 Nuri. It's 8 Nuri with a very, very good fixture. Another Newcastle player, I will be relying on 8 Nuri. I think that Leicester are that bad, so 8 Nuri is in. And now the final midfielder, we have 14 million, so we can do whatever the hell we want. KDB is an option. A lot of players are an option. Who would I want? Let's go and check the midfielders. I know it's very counterintuitive to build it that way. You can go for Palmer still. If you rely on him, you can go for a double. For another Liverpool player in Luis Diaz, you can go for Kluivert for now. And if he's having a double up against City, which is very likely, you just sell him. You can go for Elanga. Elanga is an option. And I might go... It's very, very difficult to decide. Trossard is a blanker this week. Mitoma, it's West Ham. I will not be overly excited to pick any midfielders at the moment, to be completely honest with you guys. That is going to tear up this week. So, and then is going to be bench fodder. So let's just put... Who should we put? Huh? It's very hard to put it this week, but let's go for someone like Harvey Barnes. So here we have it. Of course, Barnes can be Gordon. I know that it's very hard to decide, but we have only 2 blankers. You can go for Sar or Eze. I don't recommend it. You can go for Rogers, of course, and save the Rogers pick. You can go for someone like Saka and have another doubler, but they're facing Liverpool and they will be focusing on UCL. I would probably go for someone like Rogers here and just have the blank this week, and I go with this team. Let's go and see how the team will feature in the rest of the season, but yeah, I'm going to keep it that way, and then we're going to change it with focusing solely on 36, because you have to prepare for a bench boost and it gets tougher and tougher and tougher, and we have to take care of good fixtures regardless. So let's go and see how the team looks in FPL.team, and then we're going to come back. So here is how the team is going to be looking. Of course, I will be picking my Everton players here, as Brentford are facing my players here from Brentford. So yeah, Forest are facing Brentford. So yeah, captain is Salah. We have it sorted. Then we move to the next week, and we have Ipswich. This goes out to Guardiola. This goes out to Marmoush. You can bench Cunha for Rogers, and your happy days. Honestly, this is happy days. I don't see a reason for you to worry at all. I think this is a good squad, and yeah, of course you can get Cunha in instead of Rogers, instead of everyone, but for now it works that way. Then in 36 we're free hitting. In 37 we have Murphy out, let's say, for Cunha. And that's it. Maybe this guy out for 8 Nuri. Okay, the team is fine. The team can survive. And 38 Everton. Let's say United. And we're done. So yeah, here is how the team is going to look. Now let's not spend more time on it. Let's go and build a team that is good on 36, and we'll have a lot of chat about it and what strategy I prefer more. And yeah, I think that, yeah, let's go and talk about it. So now, if we move solely to Gameweek 36, we need to go and build a team for it and for a bench boost. So starting with the obvious team, that is Brentford. I already discussed them several times. This is a blank team once again, but I'm going to be bringing Mbumo and Wissa. If you have a bench boost still in your squad and you wanted to use it in the double in 36, Mbumo and Wissa are amazing players. Of course, if you're looking to someone to bench, you have to once again sort out. If you're only looking to focus the doubles, you have to again focus on 35 and 37, and then add some players that play in 36, but I would prefer Wildcard to be played in 35. In that sense, because you have the own knowledge there, we move into a team like City for sure as well. Marmoush and Guardiola are back into the side. A team like Nottingham Forest here is going to be a heavy target. Regardless, this sells immediately Wood and immediately someone like, let's say, Neko, Williams, he's cheap, he's an option, so we have it covered here. Then we've covered the worst sides, whoever faces Ipswich, whoever faces Southampton, whoever faces Leicester. You can go and target a team like Brighton. So double ups, sorry. City and Forest are covered, so you have one of the two. Whoever is doubling up, you have players from them. Then we move to Aston Villa. For sure, Aston Villa need to be a target. They're facing Bournemouth, and Bournemouth if they're doubling up. So now we get into Bournemouth territory. We add immediately someone like Kluivert, who is in. We add someone like Rogers, who is in. We immediately return Salah as he is in. We go and pick someone like Kerkez immediately. We don't care about it because he will have a double if City reaches it. So we're happy with that. Kerkez, Guardiola and Williams, and you have players already 3 blankers for this week. So that's the maximum of Aston Villa, City players, Arsenal and Palace that we're going to have. Unless you pick someone like Emi Martinez to have a coverage this week. So you have a possibility of 2 double ups in keepers or sales against Leicester, which is ideal. And now you need to pick players that have an okay fixture right now and an okay fixture in 36. That's the most important thing. Fulham, still great, so I'm going to pick Sessegnon. Either way, this is selected. Then we move to who else? I would say West Ham have a good run, so I'm picking Bowen. And now we're left with one defender that has a good fixture now, and in 37, and is in good form. If we go and check all players, go to defenders and sort them by do we have form? Yes. The top defender is Ait Nouri. This is a quick draft if you're looking to target Gameweek 36. Sorry, I made the one before very hard, but it's to navigate 35 and 37, and it's very, very difficult to do that at the moment. So let's go and see now in FPL.team how the team is going to focus. That is solely on double ups in 36. Of course, if Forest and Villa reaches the final, you have to take care of City players, but you can still rely on City players and you use them in 37, which is even better. You have to probably take care of the Bournemouth players because they will not have a double up. It's not with ideal fixtures, but still at the end of the day, I think that you will survive it. So now let's go and see how the team looks, and I'll be explaining it all, the steps that you can to adjust your team up until the end of the season. So here is the wildcard that focuses on 36. As you can see, this week is not ideal as we have several players facing against each other, and most probably the issue here is we are either hoping for a clean sheet or for a goal fiesta from West Ham. But at the end of the day, it's good. We have 3 also players from Forest and 2 for Brentford, but that's an issue that is better to have than to not to have it in the laws when you need them. Then in 35, you can decide which keeper to play. You can pick a defender. Of course, Kerkez can play against Arsenal. It's a little bit hard to predict, but it's an okay fixture. We have Wood against Crystal Palace. I would say that's the hardest fixture, so 35 is not ideal also. Then you focus on 36, and 36 is where you activate the bench boost if you have it. If not, just don't pick players. Switch players that have a blank week with players that have a bad week here in 36, but good 35 and 37, like Everton. So, for example, if Bournemouth, if you're not having a bench boost, I would leave out the Bournemouth players and get an Everton one. I would leave probably Wissa and get in Cunha, so I can bench him in that week. Yeah, those kind of things. Then in 37, we move. We have an okay structure with the team. Yeah, here Kerkez will be on the bench with Neko. Yeah, it's okay. And then in 38, you have some transfers to adjust the side. In 37 also, you have transfer to adjust. And in 37, if Forest reaches the semi-final, the final of the FA Cup and have a blank, you can bench all of your players or sell some of them because they have Chelsea at the end. So you have a lot of options, which in hindsight may seem limited, but I think those drafts that I presented to you are very good. Of course, you can disagree, you can give your own opinion, and I would be happily hearing it. Please leave it down in a comment, as this will probably shape it up better and better as the time comes. More transfer targets, more free hit drafts. My team selection will be coming your way in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for every piece of content that I will be sharing. Of course, a deadline stream will be there, and we will be preparing for the week in 34. Thanks so much for the attention that you're giving to my channel. It means the world to me. Just don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As per usual, special shout out to the members of the channel, Seth, Foreign, Oscar, Skauser, Hem, Dmitro. Thanks so much for being members of the channel. If you guys want to support me financially, becoming members is one of the ways to do so. There are the prices that you have to pay, and with each level comes different perks. Thanks so much for contributing to the channel, but if you cannot afford to spend money, or you just basically don't want to, just click that subscribe button and press those likes, write down a comment. This will help me grow naturally, so that is going to be all appreciated. As mentioned before, more and more content will be coming your way for the upcoming 34, as it's a very important week to take care of. Thanks so much for participating. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon with more FPL and UCL fantasy content. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.